Okay. So we did till the Henry's law. Okay, Henry's law for the solution of gas in liquid. Right? We studied that completely. Then the next thing we are going to know is the solid solution. As you can see, we have noted there, solid solution. So solid solution means solid in solid. Solid in solid. That can be of two types. That can be of two types. One we call substitutional solid solution. Substitutional solid solution. Another one we call interstitial solid solution. Interstitial solid solution. হ্যাঁ কি হচ্ছে সাবস্টিটিউশনাল এখন ঠিক আছে ঠিক আছে এখন okay substitutional solid solution and interstitial solid solution. Now substitutional solid solution means one solid is there, any metallic solid, suppose zinc is there, so zinc atoms are there in the solid. Now if some of the zinc atoms are replaced by suppose copper atoms, some of the zinc atoms are replaced by copper atoms, then that is a uniform solution. As I told, that solid solution, simply this gold and copper is there. Okay, that is what is called substitutional solid solution. Means one is substituting the other. Okay, now why they can substitute? Why one can substitute the other? One can substitute the other because their size, the size of these two metals are almost same. They cannot be exactly same. They are almost same, so that they can substitute one another, and they are forming the substitutional solid solution. That is one type. Then next is interstitial solid solution. What is interstitial solid solution? Again, a solid is there. A solid is there. Okay, where the atoms are there, and obviously there are certain voids in it. Certain other atoms, obviously that has to be very small atoms, like carbon is coming in the gap or in the void and staying over here. Certain carbon atoms are staying in the voids and forming a solution. That mixture is a uniform mixture. That type of solid solution, both are solid obviously, but that type of solid solution is called interstitial solid solution. The most common example is tungsten carbide. Tungsten carbide. These metal atoms are tungsten metals, and the carbon atoms are just going inside it. Okay. Even nowadays we call them the rackets and all that is made. The tennis rackets and all that is made nowadays with a fiber they call carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is nothing. It's actually a substitutional interstitial solid solution where iron is there or steel is there actually. Or maybe in certain cases nowadays titanium is even there. Titanium rackets are there. Okay, where that carbons are placed in the interstices. Is it clear? Fine, no doubt. So that is just this much only. This particular solution we are going to study this much only. Now mainly we are going to study what? Mainly we are going to study the solution of solid in liquid. Solid in liquid. Okay. Now please understand it. Solid in liquid. The first part you must understand. Obviously, solid in liquid is a normal thing that we know. Now, tell me, what is solute, what is solvent? Solid is what? Solute or solvent? Whenever I am talking of solid in solution, solid in liquid solution, what is this? Solid is what? Solute. Okay, and liquid is obviously solvent. Okay, if I ask you example, you can give thousands of examples. I am not asking that. Now, this solid solute can be of two types. Okay, one we call non-volatile solute. Non-volatile solute. Very important terms I am using. Okay, non-volatile solute means what? It itself cannot be vaporized. Volatilized means what? It itself cannot be vaporized. For example, suppose if you just dissolve some sugar in water, making a solution. The sugar is not going to be evaporated, right? What is going to be evaporated? The water from the solution is going to be evaporated, not the sugar. So sugar in this particular case is a non-volatile solute. Yes? And another type of solute is there which is called volatile solute. Volatile solute. For example, suppose if you dissolve camphor, camphor in water, okay? Then and if it is allowed to be evaporated. So what will evaporate? Not only water, the camphor will also evaporate. Yes or not? Yes? that type of solute is called what? That type of solute is called volatile solute. So first obviously we are going to study with the non-volatile solute. Solution of non-volatile solute in liquid. Clear? Okay. Before going to any further, first we must understand one term which is called vapor pressure. Which is called vapor pressure. What is vapor pressure? Please understand it. I have taken in a container certain amount of water and covered it. In a covered container, I have taken certain amount of water. Fine. So water molecules are there at the surface. They are at the surface as well as they are present over here also. Maybe they are not that much tightly packed. They are placed over here also. These molecules are called surface molecules. These molecules are called surface molecules, and the molecules that is present inside are called the molecules in the bulk molecules. We call them bulk molecules. Clear? Obviously, there is some difference in properties between the surface molecule and the bulk molecule. What is the difference in property? The surface molecules, as you can see, is surrounded only at the bottom, surrounded by other molecules only at the bottom. So they are pulled by the molecules present at its bottom. But if I take a bulk molecule, any bulk molecule, what happens? It is surrounded everywhere. Okay, so it is pulled from everywhere. So there is some difference in energy between the surface molecules and the molecules that is present in bulk, and that is why they are showing. That means the surface molecules as well as the bulk molecules are showing the different properties. Clear? Okay, fine. We will study these properties. We had studied these properties, surface tension, viscosity, etc. That is a different issue. But here we are going to know about vapor pressure. Now, what is vapor pressure? Before going to vapor pressure, first we must understand what is evaporation. What is evaporation? Tell me, what is evaporation? Evaporation. What is evaporation? Tell. Shubham, tell. What is evaporation? Yes.
Vaporization of water is one.
Vaporization of liquid, not water. It can be any liquid. Vaporization of liquid is known as evaporation. Fine. I will accept that, but is it completely correct? You will tell me. If I ask you what is boiling, if I ask you what is boiling, the same thing?
The evaporation of water.
Evaporation of the liquid, that is what? That is what you told. The vaporization of the liquid. This is also vaporization of the liquid, yes? At a specific temperature. Okay? The evaporation does not take place at a specific temperature. It takes place at any temperature. It takes place at any temperature. Number one. But that's not the main difference. What is the main difference? Yes, the evaporation of these molecules are only taking place. These molecules are only getting evaporated. Then the next phase is exposed, next layer is exposed, next layer will be evaporated. Then the next layer will be exposed, next layer will be evaporated. That means only the surface molecules are getting evaporated. Clear? But boiling is happening in all the molecules. All the molecules means the surface molecules as well as the molecules present in the bulk. Understood that? Yes? Now, okay, fine. Now, at any temperature, the evaporation is taking place. Some of the surface molecules is getting evaporated. Clear? Till when they will get evaporated? Till they attain the equilibrium. After certain condition, they will attain the equilibrium, but the evaporation will be stopped. Generally, the equilibrium attains after so long, after a long period of time. Okay, almost everything is evaporated. Then only the equilibrium is reached. But if it is a closed container, equilibrium might arise earlier on. Now, these molecules, these evaporated molecules, are responsible for exerting the pressure. They are exerting the pressure. Yes, these molecules are exerting the pressure. This pressure is called the vapor pressure. That is what is known as the vapor pressure. Yes, so what is vapor pressure? It's the pressure that is exerted by the vaporized molecules of any liquid at any temperature. In your own language, at any temperature. Is it clear? Okay, fine. But here what did I took? What did I take? I took only water. What was there? Suppose only water I told. Means only solvent I took. I took only the solvent. Only and only the solvent. Fine. Now, what I am doing? In this water, I had added some non-volatile solute. Non-volatile solute means suppose salt or sugar, anything I add. Clear? So now, obviously this is also covered. Now, at the surface, the molecules that are present, are not of water now. All are not water. Some molecules are there of sugar also. Some molecules are there of sugar also. So now, in the surface, less number of water molecules are evaporated. Water molecules are available to be evaporated. Here, more number of water molecules are available for evaporation. Now, lesser number of water molecules are available for evaporation. So, the number of molecules that will evaporate and the equilibrium will reach will be less. Yes? So, what will happen to the vapor pressure? The vapor pressure will decrease. So, can I say that vapor pressure of a solution, what is this? Vapor pressure of a solution of a non-volatile solute, must mention that. Clear? Non-volatile solute is less than that of the pure solvent. Yes? Any doubt? No? Now if I heat this, if I increase the temperature, obviously its evaporation will increase, evaporation rate will increase, more evaporation will take place. More evaporation will take place means more vapor pressure will be there. So the vapor pressure will increase with the increase in temperature. Yes? That is denoted by a graph known as vapor pressure curve. We call it vapor pressure curve. Okay? So what is this? How does it look? See, how does it look? Vapor pressure curve, how does it look? It looks like this. Simple. It looks like this. Here we are plotting the vapor pressure in this direction, and in this direction we are plotting the temperature. Vapor pressure versus temperature we are plotting. Suppose at this particular temperature, this is the vapor pressure. Okay, at this particular temperature, the vapor pressure of the pure solvent is this much. Now with the increase in temperature, we know the vapor pressure is increasing. But that is not increasing uniformly. How does it increase? It increases like this. Fine. That's the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. That is the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Clear? But as soon as I added the sugar in the solution, in the water, in the solvent, when I made the solution of a non-volatile solute, its vapor pressure become less. Yes? At this particular temperature, now this is the vapor pressure of the solution. This is the vapor pressure of the solution of what type of solute? Of non-volatile solute. Now if I increase the temperature of the solution also, that will also evaporate more. Yes? The vapor pressure of that will also increase with increase in temperature. But doesn't matter how much it is increased, it will be always less than that of the corresponding solvent. So it will increase like this. It will increase like this. Parallelly it will increase. But at any temperature, you can see the vapor pressure of the solution is less than the vapor pressure of the solvent. So this particular curve is the curve for the vapor pressure of the solution. And this whole thing is called what? Whole thing is called the vapor pressure curve. We call it vapor pressure curve for the, obviously for what? For the non-volatile solute. Clear? Now tell me one thing. Don't sit down. Just concentrate here. I might be jumping here and there. Okay, so we will come to that same thing afterwards. First you listen to me. Now tell me one thing. Suppose this much water I had taken. In the first case I had taken, suppose 1 teaspoon of sugar. 1 teaspoon of sugar and I made the solution. Clear? In the next case I had taken another solution, I had taken same amount of water I had taken, and I had taken over here 2 teaspoon of sugar. Whose vapor pressure will be more? 1 teaspoon. Yes? Why?
Because water molecules are more.
Water molecules are more is not the answer. The answer should be always, it's a comparative thing, right? It's the fraction of water molecule is more. What is more? Fraction. If 1/3 is there and if 2/3 is there, water molecule, more बोलने से नहीं होता. More तो आप बड़ा गमला ले लो, उसमें और ज़्यादा दे दो. Understood? If 2/3 of water molecule is there, whatever vapor pressure it will exert. If 1/3 of water molecule is there, it will exert the lesser vapor pressure. Yes? So does it depend? Does this vapor pressure depend on the fraction of water molecules? Yes? More the fraction of water molecule, more is the vapor pressure. Yes or not? Yes, understood that in the solution. So that is what is known as Raoult's law for lowering of vapor pressure. I'll come to that. What is lowering of vapor pressure? Now, here I am doing, okay. Raoult's law for lowering of vapor pressure. Where he told that the vapor pressure of the solution is directly proportional to a solution, obviously, of non-volatile solid. I am teaching you non-volatile solid at this moment. Is directly proportional to mole fraction of the solvent, because solvent is responsible for the vapor pressure. It's not the solid, so it is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent. Yes. Now, how do we represent it better? That's the law in writing in words. Now, how do we represent it? In solution chapter, we have two component system, solute and solvent, binary system only. Generally, anything of solvent is represented by 1, because solvent is more in amount. So that is number 1. And anything of solute we represent by 2, because solute is lesser in amount. Anything suffixed by 1, suffixed by 2. Now Raoult's law, same Raoult's law, whatever I said for lowering of vapor pressure. What is lowering of vapor pressure? I am coming to that. Okay, can be written as whatever I said. P1. Why P1? Is the vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. Who is responsible? Vapor pressure. Whose vapor pressure is responsible? Solvent ka in solution. Okay, vapor pressure of the solvent in solution is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent. Can I write it? The same thing, whatever I told, I am writing it mathematically. P1 is directly proportional to X1. What is P1? Vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. Okay, and what is X1? It's nothing but the mole fraction of the solvent. You do with me in the copy. Okay, and the last part you do. Don't do here. Last part, the last part you do. Okay, don't do in fear. Okay, so we can write P1. All of you also do with me. P1 is equal to some constant into X1. Can I write it? Some proportionality constant into X1. Can I write it? Yes? Yes? This is nothing but a proportionality constant. Yes? Now we will find out the value of the proportionality constant by putting some condition. By putting some condition, we will get the value of the proportionality constant. What condition? If, see, X1 equal to 1. What is the meaning of this? Physical meaning of this? X1 equal to 1. Physical meaning of this means what? Mole fraction of solvent is 1. What is the meaning of that? Means we are talking of complete solvent, right? एक का होता है fraction. If it is whole, right? If all are boys, fraction of boys is 1 only. If all are girls, fraction of girls is 1 only. Did you understand that? Means there is no girl. Then the fraction, so there is no solute. It's what? It's pure solvent. This is what? This is the condition where only pure solvent was there. Understood that X1 equal to 1 means there is no solute. X2 equal to 0. Yes? Okay? So can I write, if X1 equal to 1, we can write P1 naught equal to K. What is P1 naught? What is P1 naught? X1 equal to 1. In place of X1 I wrote 1. ठीक है? K है. P1 के जगह में I wrote P1 naught. What is P1? You tell me once again. Get it very clear. What is P1? Vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. Vapor pressure of water in its solution means solute है. And the P1 naught is vapor pressure of solvent in pure condition. This naught is indicating what? In pure condition means there is no solute. It's not the vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. It's the vapor pressure of the solvent in its pure condition. Did you understand that? Yes or not? Yes? Okay. Now we are going to put the value of K in this equation. What we are going to get? Just simple deduction. Okay. What we are going to get? P1 equal to, in place of K, can I write P1 naught into X1? Can I write it? Can I write it in place of K? We are just writing P1 naught, nothing else. Because we got the value of K. Yes? Okay? Then simplification, just simplification. Okay? Just a little bit of simplification. So now what we are going to do? P1 divided by P1 naught. Can I write? Equal to X1. Can I write it? Yes? Just as I told, simplification, I can do it 1000 times. At night, 2 o'clock also, if you tell me I can do it. But you need little bit of practice. Okay, just 3-4 times practice. Okay, nothing, it's nothing to explain over there. This is just simple simplification. Okay, or subtracting, because we want to get an expression, we want to get one particular expression, that is why we are doing all this thing. Okay, then subtracting both the sides from 1. Subtracting both the sides from 1. What can we write? 1 minus p1 by p10 equal to 1 minus x1. Can I write it? Yes. Just subtracting both the sides from 1. x से subtract करना है. ठीक है? Yes. So that is, now just take the LCM of the left hand side. Simplify the left hand side. p10 is the LCM, right? What is there? p10 minus p1, right? Yes. Yes or not? p10 minus p1 by p10 equal to, now 1 minus x1, can I write x2? x1 plus x2 equal to 1, na? Mole fraction of solute plus mole fraction of solvent equal to 1. So 1 minus x1 is x2. Yes? Yes, did you get it? Very good. Now tell me, what is p10? Tell me, what is p10? Vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Okay, let the vapor pressure of the pure solvent be this much. This is the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. What is P1? Suppose this is 8. Suppose this value is 8. Okay, what is P1? Vapor pressure of the solvent in solution at the same condition, right? So this is P1, right? Yes. What happened to P1? It is decreased. Decreased? Suppose decreased to 6. So how much did it decrease? 2. How much did it decrease? 2. That is P10 minus P1. So P10 minus P1 is what? How much the vapor pressure is decreased because of the addition of the solute. Yes? Because of the addition of the solute, how much the vapor pressure is decreased. That is what is known as this term. This term is known as lowering of vapor pressure. Lowering of vapor pressure. Vapor pressure is lowered because of the addition of what? Because of the addition of the solute. Right? This is lowering of vapor pressure. Only the numerator is known as lowering of vapor pressure. Yes? This whole thing, lowering of vapor pressure per amount of vapor pressure of the pure solvent divided by vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Obviously, this don't have any unit. इसका तो कोई unit नहीं रहेगा, है ना? Because this is pressure unit, this is also pressure unit. That will be cancelled. This is just a value. The whole thing is called relative lowering of vapor pressure. We call it relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay? So, from wherever we started from here. That is what we told Raoult's law for lowering of vapor pressure, right? This is the one from where we started. Yes or not? Okay, P1 is directly proportional to x1. Yes, se shuru kiya tha hum log. Yes? And we came to here. Okay? So it's the same thing only. It's not that it is different. So if Raoult's law is asked to you for the relative lowering of vapor pressure, we can also express in the term of what? In the term that relative lowering of vapor pressure for a solid solution of non-volatile solute is equal to nothing but mole fraction of the solute. What is this? Mole fraction of the solute. Did you understand that? The same thing. Doesn't matter whether you are saying this or this. In words, both the same. But you understood the derivation? Okay? इसको लेके थोड़ा और आगे बढ़ेंगे हम लोग, but that is in another topic. Okay? Up to here you understood that. Clear? Lowering of vapor pressure is clear to you? Any doubt of non-volatile solute? Of non-volatile solute. Again and again I am saying. Yes? Clear? कोई doubt नहीं है? पक्का ना? Very good. Now for volatile solute. Okay? That how the vapor pressure is changing for the volatile solute. Now. Please understand it. Now the vapor pressure for the volatile solutes. Now the solute is also responsible for the vapor pressure. Okay. Now I am not going to pure solvent. Okay. So let me tell you. Suppose this is A. Please concentrate here. Then you will see them. After that you will see them. This is A. I am only drawing the surface molecules. Okay. You can understand that there is bulk molecules are there also. So this is responsible for the vapor pressure. This is A. This is one component A. Doesn't matter A is a solute or solvent, whatever it is, but this is A. Okay? Yes? Fine? Now the vapor pressure of A, only A, the vapor pressure of only A will be represented as PA naught. Yes, naught means in its pure state. In its pure state. Clear? Then I have taken, I am using another ink, another colored ink. Then I have taken another component B. It might be liquid also. It might be liquid also. Suppose one is alcohol, one is water. Okay? Now it will exert also some vapor pressure. Whatever, it may be less, it may be more also, depending on the liquid or depending on the solute. Clear? Okay? This is the vapor pressure. If we measure the vapor pressure, this is the vapor pressure of B at its pure condition. Yes? Now what I did, I added A and B. I made a mixture of A and B. Fine. Now the vapor pressure will be, now both are volatile. Both are volatile, right? Okay. Now the vapor pressure will be because of A also. Yes. Because of B also. Yes or not? Yes or not? Now who will contribute? Who will contribute more? A will contribute more or B will contribute more? Tell me. In this vapor pressure, in the vapor pressure of the solution, A is also contributing, B is also contributing. Yes? Okay? Whose molecules or who will contribute more, A or B? You? सोच के बता, who will be contributing more? Just think and tell. I asked a very simple question. Volatility is one factor, okay? Volatility is one factor, that is fine. If something is more volatile, that will be evaporated more. But you are not going to the perfect reason. You are not going to the perfect. Suppose the volatility is almost equal to same, almost same. Okay? Who will contribute more? Who is contributing more in this room, boy or girl? Why? More number or more fraction? More fraction or more number? More number is not same. Suppose 300 अभी 2 से ज़्यादा कर देंगे हम, but लड़की को भी बढ़ा देंगे तो understood that? Yes? Okay? So it's always fraction. Whenever you are comparative studies doing, you must be going in fraction. So can I say whoever has got the mole fraction more, that will contribute more? If A's mole fraction is more, A will be contributing more. If B's fraction is more, B will be contributing more. So can I say, that is what is Raoult's law for this type of solution. Can I say PA, what is PA? You tell me what is PA. Tell me, now you should tell me, what is PA? Vapor pressure of A in solution. Vapor pressure of A in solution means whatever is contributed by A in the solution is directly proportional to mole fraction of A. Yes? जितना ज़्यादा A का mole fraction होगा उतना ज़्यादा A contribute करेगा. Did you get it? And vapor pressure of B same way is directly proportional to mole fraction of B. Yes? This is again the Raoult's law for the vapor pressure for the volatile solute. Clear? From here again in the same way we can get PA equal to the same way we can get PA naught into XA. Yes? K PA naught hoga. XA equal to 1 means same way we can do it. XA equal to 1 means only A is there. So vapor pressure is PA naught. So can I write PA equal to PA naught into XA? Yes? Same way we can write PP is equal to PP naught into XB. Yes? Yes? Is it clear? Very good. Now whatever we studied, we are going to study this. Now we are going to understand this graphically. But in the next meeting, that time is almost over, I can see. No, हो जाएगा, 4 मिनट बाकी है, हो जाएगा इसमें, चलो. So after that, you join, you people all, whoever are there in the online, you join the same ID password after the meeting. But we will finish this. The graphical representation will finish before that. Now see it over here. The graphical representation of this fact. Just check it out. Please understand. Here we are plotting the graph. Okay. In this direction, we are plotting the vapor pressure. इसमें vapor pressure plot कर रहे हैं. Please understand it. No need of remembering. Absolutely, don't try to remember. Please understand it. Okay. At this point, suppose only A is there. Only A is there. Here we are plotting mole fraction. Mole fraction means how we are plotting. We can understand this. In this axis, we are plotting mole fraction. I am saying at this point only A is there. No B. Pure A is there. Clear? Okay. So XA mole fraction of A equal to 1. Yes? And mole fraction of B equal to 0. Yes? There is no B. So at this point, the vapor pressure is only because of A. Only because of pure A. Let the vapor pressure be this much. Let the vapor pressure be this much. Clear? This vapor pressure is nothing but PA naught. Yes? What is the vapor pressure for B? 0. There is no B, so vapor pressure for B is 0. Now what I am doing in that I have taken only A first, only A, right? So that X equal to 1. In that I had added some B. So what will happen to the fraction of A? Decrease. Fraction तो decrease करेगा, amount same है, but fraction will decrease. What will happen to fraction of B? Increase. Yes. So if we go after some time, the fraction of A, suppose XA is becoming 0.8. Just suppose 0.8. One से decrease होके 0.8 हो रहा है, and fraction of B will become how much? 0.2. Yes, it will increase to 0.2. ठीक है? So what will happen to the vapor pressure at this point of A? Decrease होगा. Because fraction is decreasing means vapor pressure will also decrease. Vapor pressure will decrease to this. Clear? And what will happen to the vapor pressure of B? Increase. It will increase from here to here suppose. ठीक है? और थोड़ा B डाल. क्या होगा? Vapor pressure of A will further decrease. Vapor pressure of B will further increase. ऐसे करते करते B में पहुंच गया हम लोग. सिर्फ B में. सिर्फ B मतलब XA equal to 0, yes, and XB equal to 1. We have reached to that condition. Yes. So what will be the vapor pressure of A at this point? 0. That means this curve is coming like this. This is how the vapor pressure of A is varying. Did you understand that? It started from PA0 and it is becoming 0. Yes. This is the vapor pressure curve for A in the solution, which we denote by PA. And what will happen to B? B का increase होते one point it will come when this vapor pressure will be PB0. Yes, understood that? So the vapor pressure of B will increase and will reach to PB0. Did you understand? What is the total vapor pressure at any point when we make a solution? When we make a solution, there is A also, there is B also. What is the total vapor pressure of the solution? PA plus PB. PA not नहीं, not कब होता है? जब pure होता है. Now यहाँ पे क्या है? A is also there, B is also there. Contribution of A, contribution of B is responsible for the total vapor pressure. So suppose at this condition, what is the total vapor pressure if I ask? This is the vapor pressure for A or B? B, okay, and this much is the vapor pressure for A. Clear? The addition of these two will be the total vapor pressure. Yes, we'll continue with that. Please join, okay, in the next meeting. बुझिस কিছু? হ্যাঁ, you understanding না? Clear? After let me finish this, then you will see it from the notes, both the things. Then we'll go forward. When this will get over, na, I am getting irritated with these things. This online thing. इधर में देखो, इधर देखो, उधर देखो, कैमरा में देखो, कहाँ देखो भाई? बड़ा मुश्किल। सौरभ सर has to gone in complete online mode now. सौरभ डर गया, बोलता है नहीं हम अभी ऑनलाइन पढ़ाएंगे, हम तो नहीं पढ़ाएंगे। एटलीस्ट एक बच्चा भी मेरे सामने बैठा रहेगा तो आई गेट द एनर्जी ना। Otherwise sitting at home talking to the this thing, it's very initial it was a something ना, initial phases में कुछ ना कुछ कर रहा है, इतना कुछ कर रहा है, अभी लग रहा है कि क्या कर रहा है यार? And you people also don't get that energy, the same energy when you were sitting in the computer, when rather than coming over here. The energy is different, completely different, because attention will be much more, energy will be much more. That energy you cannot feel in online. That interaction, that rapport, won't build. I am looking at your eyes, I know that what you are getting, what you are not getting. यहाँ पे तो पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कौन समझ रहा है कौन नहीं समझ रहा है। Okay. So, what is the total vapor pressure then? Total vapor pressure of the solution. Total vapor pressure of the solution, P total I am writing. Total vapor pressure of the solution is equal to nothing but vapor pressure contributed by A plus vapor pressure contributed by B. Yes? Now graphically we can get this by just joining these two points, these two top points. This line, this black one is actually nothing but P total. So when you are told to find out the total vapor pressure, you don't have to count this much and add. You can directly count this much and that is the total vapor pressure. Understood that? Okay? This is the contribution by A, other one is the contribution by B, and total vapor pressure is nothing but PA plus PB mathematically and graphically this. So this is the graphical representation of the vapor pressure of the volatile solute. Okay? Which law it is following? It is following the Raoult's law. What is Raoult's law? This is Raoult's law, right? PA equal to PA naught into XA. PB is equal to PB naught into XB. You understood that what is the physical meaning of that. That contribution of A will be more if the mole fraction of A is more. Contribution of B will be more if the mole fraction of B is more. Yes? Any doubt? Nay? But now the question comes is that the deviation from the ideal, this is the ideal condition. This condition, when it obeys the Raoult's law, is the ideal condition. But there are so many solutions of the volatile solute which deviate from the ideal behavior. Deviation can be of two types. What is the ideal solution? Ideal solution means it is obeying this. It is obeying these two laws, right? It is obeying these two laws. I mean, these two laws means this law, these two equations. Clear? Along with that, two more equations it is obeying. Along with that, two more equations it is obeying. Okay, if it is ideal, that is one is delta H for mixing. डेल्टा H means change in enthalpy for mixing. अगर मिक्स करेंगे तो नाइदर वो कोल्ड होगा नॉर ये हॉट होगा मिक्स करने के बाद. That means delta H for mixing will be equal to 0. There will be no change in heat content. Okay, if it happens, then that's the ideal solution. And delta V for mixing is also equal to 0. Delta V means change in volume. Suppose you are taking 10 liter of one thing. 10 milliliter of one thing, another one you are taking 15 milliliter, and if you add and you are finding a solution of 25 milliliter, it's absolutely fine. That's an ideal. But suppose after mixing the total volume is becoming 24. Force of attraction between them has become more, so they are becoming more compressed. Or force of attraction between them has become less, so it is becoming more. The volume is becoming 26. Understood that? In that case, they are not behaving ideally. So ideal condition means what? This is first condition, this is second condition, this is third condition, where a solution of volatile solute behaves ideally. Out of that, the first one is Raoult's law. Second one, obviously nothing, thermodynamic expression, that is delta H due to mixing should be equal to 0, and delta V due to mixing also should be equal to 0. But as I told, there are so many solutions which are varying from the ideal behavior. Okay, some are varying in a positive manner, some are varying in a negative manner. Depending on that, this variation or varied solutions are of two types, can be of two types. One we call positive deviation from the ideal behavior. If the positive deviation is there, then PA will be greater than PA naught into X. That means whatever value of PA we are expecting is this one, it will be greater than that. That means the value of PA will be like this. It will be more than whatever it is expected. PB is also greater than this. It will be also more than whatever it is expected. PA is more, PB is more, obviously P total will be also more. So the P total will be also greater than this expected. This is the graphical representation of the positive deviation from the ideal behavior. And I hope all of you understood what will be the negative deviation. Negative deviation means this will be all less. Here also, in case of positive deviation this is greater, in case of negative deviation it will be less. Yes? Okay, so there are two ways the deviation can take place. One is positive deviation, where every value is greater than its expectation, and where every value is less than its expectation, that is negative deviation. Now it's your duty, I will give you 10 minutes time, 5 to 7 minutes time. Okay, you will tell me what is the reason, that is where your study will come. What is the reason for certain solution to go under positive deviation? What is the reason for certain solution to go under negative deviation? And one example each. Chalo, read from the notes. You people also, I can ask anyone, online, offline, anyone. Okay, you will tell me the reason for positive deviation, reason for negative deviation, and one example each. One example each. Reason, please read the whole thing. Of volatile solute. I give you 5 minutes, that is why I give you 5 minutes time. Volatile solute का पूरा पढ़ लो, एक बार देख लो, graph from सब देख लो, see whether everything is fine or not, and tell me what is the reason for positive deviation, reason for negative deviation, and one example each. Did you get the curve? Understand the curve? Curves, you have got it, right? Positive deviation, negative deviation. I hope you understood that also. Now see, in one paragraph the reasons are also written. It's all I told because of the interactions between the two components. कहीं पे ज़्यादा है, कहीं पे कम है. कहाँ पे ज़्यादा है, कहाँ पे कम है, वो आपको देख के बताना है मेरे को. There is nothing to explain over there. And one example of it. Why I am telling you to read so that you won't forget. So, yes, tell me. कौन बोलेगा? राजर्षि बता. ऑनलाइन वालों को पूछते हैं. राजर्षि, tell me. What is the reason? What is the reason for the positive deviation? Tell. What is the reason for the positive deviation? What lowering of paper pressure? Where were you? You are sleeping. I am teaching you and you are sleeping. What is the reason for the positive deviation from the ideal behavior of solution of non-volatile solute? सब भाग रहा है एक एक करके. The sleeping. मैं search, you search, you keep on searching. आप बताओ. Tell. हाँ बोलो.
Sir, the A introduction and the B, sorry, the interaction between two molecules, that is AA and BB, is higher than A.
Simple. The interaction between the individual molecules. The interaction between the individual molecules. The interaction between AA and BB will be greater than the interaction between AB. When only A is there, the interaction is between A's only. When only B's are there, there is interaction between B's only. But when A and B are mixed, there are three types of interactions, right? AA, BB, and one more, AB. When it is showing the positive deviation, if the interaction between AA and BB is greater than that of the interaction between A and B. Yes? Example. देखिए कोई issue.
N-hexane and ethanol.
Normal hexane and ethanol. N-hexane and ethanol. देखो आपको याद हो गया अभी. It's over. And these questions are very common questions. So obviously negative deviation is just opposite. This is the difference between online and offline. You understood that? This is the difference actually. So the negative deviation will be just opposite, where the AA interaction and BB interaction will be less than the AB interaction. And example बताते एक थोड़ा सा. Okay, chloroform and acetone. It's a mixture of chloroform and acetone. Just one example, and what is the logic, and I hope you understood what is positive deviation, what is negative deviation. Clear? Now one more topic I will tell, then we will go to an important one rather. That is azeotropic mixture. Azeotropic mixture, or we also call them azeotropes. Okay? We are going to half. The number has become reduced to half. So see. Azeotropic mixture, or we also call them azeotropes. Azeotropes. Okay? Again, please understand it. There is nothing. Please understand it first, then you read once, you will get it. There is nothing. See, if I take water, suppose water At normal condition, we know boiling at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, at normal condition, it is boiling at 100 degrees Celsius. That is the boiling point. I am taking some ethanol, alcohol suppose, normal alcohol, ethanol. Generally, it boils around 60 degrees Celsius. Fine. Okay. Individually, I had taken them. I had taken this. Their boiling points are 60 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius respectively. Now, what I did in another container, I added a mixture of alcohol and water. Any amount of mixture of alcohol and water. Just added some water and alcohol. Okay. And I started heating it. You know all these things. It's nothing new for you. I started heating it. Suppose this was at temperature 25 degrees Celsius. I started heating it. When it will reach 60 degrees Celsius, what will happen? The alcohol will go off, will boil off and go. Yes, water will still remain. Yes or not? We know that. That is distillation. How we do the distillation, you must have studied in lower classes. Clear? And when the temperature will raise to 100 degrees Celsius, then the water will boil. So whatever two liquids we are keeping over here, mixing over here, they are boiling in their own boiling points. That's the normal condition. That's the normal mixture. Clear? But there is a special type of mixture. A special type of mixture of two liquids, which has got obviously different boiling point, will boil this whole mixture, not this, I am writing A and B, okay? A and B. If we made, obviously it must be very specific, will boil at one temperature. Though individually they are boiling into different temperature, they will boil at one temperature, and that temperature may be higher than the boiling point of both A and B. Understood? Or lower than the boiling point of both A and B. So what is azeotropic mixture? That means azeotropic mixture or azeotropes are behaving as an individual liquid. Yes, it's not behaving as a mixture of liquids because it is boiling at one temperature. At that temperature may be, as I told, higher than the individual boiling points of both the components, or it may be lower than the individual boiling points of both the components. Depending on whether they are higher or lower, the azeotropes can be of two types. One we call maximum boiling azeotropes. From the name itself you can understand. Maximum boiling azeotrope, where the azeotropic mixture will boil at a higher temperature than the individual components. And another one, obviously, we are going to say minimum boiling azeotrope, which will boil at lower temperature than the individual components. No need of remembering the values that is given in your study mat, okay? But just see the example so that you can understand. Tell me the example of maximum boiling azeotrope. What is there? Just see and tell me. Water and HCl, but not at any proportion. It must be in a fixed proportion. What is the proportion? 80% and 20%. It must be in a fixed proportion. What is the boiling point of water individually? 373 Kelvin. What is the boiling point of HCl individually? No need of remembering the value. 188 Kelvin. But at what temperature this mixture is boiling? Which is higher than the boiling point of both? Yes, understood that? So this type of mixture is called what? This type of mixture is called maximum boiling azeotrope. You got it or not? Yes? See the negative boiling azeotrope, minimum boiling azeotrope. Example take let you. Tell me what are the components? क्या है? Alcohol or water है शायद, right? That is the example I had given. What is the ratio?
5:95.
How much?
5%.
95%, 5%. Okay, 5%, 95%. 5% alcohol, water. 5% water, 95% alcohol. Fine. As I told, no need of remembering that. You just know what is maximum boiling azeotrope, what is minimum boiling azeotrope. I have given these values to make you understand. Now, at what temperature the water boils? 373. At what temperature the alcohol is boiling? 351.3. And at what temperature this mixture is boiling? 351.1, which is less than the boiling point of both of them. Clear? So that will be the minimum boiling azeotrope. Once again, I am saying there is absolutely no need of remembering these values. No need, absolutely no need of remembering these boiling point values. Okay? You can remember maximum the example. Okay? Definition you already know, you can write it down. But You no need of remembering these values. Maximum you can note down the remember during the examination time the example. Give an example of maximum boiling isotope, give an example of minimum boiling isotope. You can remember. Yes, clear? Okay. Next we are entering into colligative properties. Okay, colligative properties. Of now, whatever we had to study about the volatile solute, we finished. Now, whatever we are going to study, we are going to study about the non-volatile solute. Okay. Now, remaining part is all of non-volatile solute. Now, the next thing that we are going to study is colligative properties. Now, what is colligative properties? What is colligative properties? 2 points. Please understand. 2 points. First, these properties are certain physical properties. Certain physical properties. Physical properties means which can be measured or observed. Which we can measure or observe are called the physical properties. These are certain physical properties of the solution of non-volatile solute. First thing, physical properties. What type of solution? Second point, of non-volatile solute, solution of non-volatile solute, but the condition is that the solution must be dilute. Must be, it is applicable for only the dilute solutions. Dilute solution means the amount of solvent in comparison to the amount of solute will be much higher. Solvent will be much higher in comparison to the amount of the solute. Clear? Okay? Fine. So what are these? What are colligative properties? Colligative properties are nothing but the physical properties, certain physical properties of the solution of non-volatile solute, okay, which are actually the properties of the dilute solution, and depending on this, you can say it in 1 point only, and the second point, which depend on, that is important, which depend on the number of solute particles, not on the nature. Number of solute particles, but not on the nature. Means what? It depends on how many solute particles are there. Whether they are atom or molecule or ion does not matter. How many solute particles are there? If 5 solute particles are there, whatever is the value of that property, if 10 particles are there, the value of that property will be doubled. It does depend on the number of particles, not on the nature of the particle. What type of particle is there, absolutely doesn't matter. Understood that? These are colligative properties. So colligative properties are, are certain physical properties of dilute solution, yes, which depend on the number of solute particles but not on its nature. Yes, fine. These colligative properties can be of 4 types, or 4 properties are there. One we call, which we had already done, we are just going to do a little bit more with that, relative lowering of vapor pressure, which we had already done, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, this we will finish today and we will solve a numerical, then we will finish it up today. Next one is elevation of boiling point. Elevation of boiling point. The next 3 we are going to do next day. Next one is depression of freezing point. Depression of freezing point. And the next one is osmotic pressure. These are the colligative properties of the solution of non-volatile solute, okay, which depend on the number of solute particles but not on its nature. First one we are going to finish today itself, okay, that is relative lowering of vapor pressure of the non-volatile solute, whose expression already we had done up to certain extent. I am going to start from there only, though it is done twice in your study mat, but we are going to start from there. What did we get, if you can remember? P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught, that is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Did you get that? Yes, equal to x2. Did you get that or not? You had done it with me also. Okay, we got up to here, right? So that is equal to, we can write it equal to, X2 means mole fraction of solute. Mole fraction of solute means number of moles of solute by total number of moles. Yes, number of moles of solute means what? N2. Yes, number of moles of solute is N2 divided by N1 plus N2. Yes, yes. Now one condition. Please understand that. What is the condition? The solution is dilute. The solution is dilute, right? Okay. Solution is dilute means number of moles of solute is less, very less in comparison to the number of moles of solvent. That means N1, since the solution is dilute, N1 number of moles of solvent is very, very greater than the number of moles of solute. Yes or not? Okay. So can I write N1 plus N2 is almost equal to N1? Because N2 is very small. Yes, 1 lakh plus 1 is almost equal to 1 lakh. Understood that? That is dilute solution. Yes. So N1 plus N2 is almost equal to N1. So this equation can be written as, just little bit of simplification I am doing. This equation can be written as N2 divided by N1. But this is only for the dilute solution. That is why I didn't do it in the earlier case. Earlier case I never mentioned the colligative properties. We have done it for normal cases, not normal any cases. Okay. But if the solution is dilute, if we are talking about the colligative property, then we can take this approximation. Yes, that is equal to, we can write N2 is equal to what? We know it already. W2 divided by M2. Mass of solute divided by molar mass of the solute. Yes. Okay. So W2 divided by M2, mass of solute by molar mass of solute. We have done it already. Yes. And N1 equal to what? W1 by M1, mass of solvent divided by molar mass of solvent. So if we just simply rearrange it, what we are going to get? I am writing it over here. What we are going to get? W2 into M1, M1 put a yes, divided by W1 into M2. This is the equation for the relative lowering of vapor pressure, final equation for relative lowering of vapor pressure. Yes, what is this? P10 is what, you tell me? What is P10? Vapor pressure of the pure solvent. Yes, what is P1?
Vapor pressure of the
Solvent in solution. That is vapor pressure of the solution only, because we are talking of non-volatile solute. What is W2? Mass of or weight of solute. 2 means solute in gram, because M1 and M2 are in gram. Okay, M1 is what? Molar mass of solvent. 1 is solvent, right? W1 is what? Mass of solvent in gram. Yes. And M2 is what? Molar mass of solute. Yes. 1 is solvent, 2 is solute. 1 is solvent, 2 is solute. Yes, understood that? Okay, chalo, do a numerical and then I will leave you. Chalo, right. Right, कुछ नहीं, frame करो. Vapor pressure of pure water, right? Vapor pressure of pure water. Vapor pressure of pure water at 298 Kelvin. At 298 Kelvin is 23.8. I'm writing it over here. Is 23.8 millimeter of mercury. This is nothing but a pressure unit of pressure, millimeter of mercury. Okay, 23.8 millimeter of mercury. Full stop. 50 gram of urea. 50 gram of urea. 50 gram of urea. Within bracket you write NH2 CO NH2. Okay, the molecular formula of urea is this. That will be given to you, so don't worry about that. Is dissolved in 850 gram of water. Is dissolved in 850 gram of water. Full stop. calculate the vapor pressure of the solution and its relative lowering that means relative lowering of vapor pressure. Okay, chalo, you have 5 minutes time to finish it up, frame it up and do it. Read it nicely first and then frame it. This is related to relative lowering of vapor pressure. Just do it. Now framing is done or not? First you tell me. That's the only thing. Numericals में कुछ नहीं होता है. Just read the question nicely and tell me. Okay, tell me. I am asking you. You tell me. What is the solution? First you tell me. What is the solution? Solution क्या है? What is solute? What is solvent? Tell.
The mixing of
urea in water. Very good. So urea is solute and water is solvent. ठीक है? Now what is given? What is the first line? And this question is related to what? This question is related to relative lowering of vapor pressure. This much we understand? This much we understand? Now we have to follow this equation, right? We have to follow this equation, relative lowering of vapor pressure. Now tell me exactly what is given. What is written? The vapor pressure of the pure water. That means P10, right? That means P10. Yes? How much P10? Write it down. Keep on writing. What is P10? 23.8. Okay? P10 equal to 23.8 millimeter of mercury. Fine. Then
50 gram of urea.
50 gram of urea means W2, right? Yes? That way you must write, okay? Always. This is called framing. I call it framing. Always do that. Given. You are writing, I am nothing doing. I am just writing the question in my own manner. W2 equal to how much? 50 gram you told, right? 50 gram. So 50 gram. That's given in grams, so no need of changing the unit. Right? Then of urea they told. And the molecular formula of urea is also given. From there we can find out the value of M2 also, right? Molecular mass भी निकाल सकते हैं हम लोग. How much is coming? How much? 78. Whatever. That you can very easily find out, right? NH2CO NH2. N is 14, hydrogen 1, carbon is 12, and you can find it out. I don't know. I am just writing as Srijay is saying, so I am just taking it 78 gram. It's wrong. How much is coming? Just calculate it. Calculate it. How much is coming? NH2 means 14 and 2, 16. 16, 16, 32. 32 and 12, 44. 44 and 16. That is 80, right? No, 44 and 16 is 60. 60, right? 60, right? Yes, okay. Fine. 60 is coming 60? Yes?
60.
Fine. So 60 gram, M2 is 60 gram. Then is dissolved in how much gram of water?
850 gram.
850 grams. So W1, right? Equal to 850 gram. Fine. So molar mass of water also you know, right? How much? 18 gram. You know this, right? Okay. What you have to find out?
Vapor pressure of solution
Vapor pressure of solution, that is P1, and
is relative lower.
its relative loading, that is P1 naught minus P1 divided by P1 naught, right? Is it the question? I didn't write anything, I just wrote down the question. Yes or not? Yes, उसके बाद कुछ बचा हो? कुछ नहीं बचा, आपको सिर्फ वैल्यू पुट करना है और निकालना है, right? Whatever, that you can do, that is not an issue. Obviously, the P1 will come in millimeter of mercury. P1 will come in millimeter of mercury, and relative loading of vapor pressure won't have any unit because pressure unit cancel हो जाएगा. Yes, can you complete this? Yes or not? So up to the first colligative property, everything is clear. So up to the first colligative properties, you are going to study from the study mat. Yes. These people, if you are going from here in the evening time, you can collect it from the office. Okay. Just the hard copy, or else I told you, you take the printout and study. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. We don't have time to waste. Please study from the beginning. The syllabus is huge syllabus. Okay. So, but very easy. If you study, it's very easy. Nothing is there. Okay. It's not that you won't understand. That much I can guarantee. And I will supply all the materials and all. That is also not your problem. Your thing is only you have to study best. That's all. ठीक है? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
चलो, thank you.